All right, so today, well, before we even jump into that part, welcome back. Sorry it's been a few days since I have posted. I've just been swamped, man. I took a couple gigs, got a big gig next weekend I'm getting ready for, had a ton of songs to learn, been practicing a ton, so just been a little behind making things. But you guys have been watching a ton of videos, and I really appreciate it. About to hit 1,500 subscribers, so thank you so much. So I wanted to put this out today and talk a little bit about hybrid picking. Hybrid picking's great. I use it all the time, and I had a few comments about, asking people or people asking, "Hey, can you talk about how to hybrid pick?" Or, I'm having trouble with hybrid picking or whatever. So, thought we'd talk a little bit about that. What it is, what it isn't. That part of it's really simple, actually. And when I started doing it and why. So hybrid picking is just when you use your pick and one of your fingers or both of your fingers or three of your fingers. So some combination of your pick and your fingers, hence the hybrid part. I first got into it when I moved to Nashville. I was listening to country stuff and trying to learn it. I had never played country music, really. I grew up sort of inundated with it, growing up in North Carolina. But when I started playing guitar, it was all, it was blues and blues rock and, Hendrix and Clapton and the Eagles and some pop rock kind of stuff that was on the radio, some classic rock stuff. But the country stuff, it almost seemed unapproachable to me. I'd hear these awesome parts in like an Alan Jackson song. It's, come to find out it's Brent Mason. So, of course, it's awesome. But, sometimes it just seems way more complicated. And in some ways, it is. So I started trying to learn a little bit of that stuff and pick it up and just be competent enough to get through some of those tunes. And honestly, I never became a great chicken picker. But the hybrid picking part of it sort of weaseled its way into my playing style and changed it probably for the better. And just helped me to have my own sort of thing. I think that's what we all should be striving for probably, right? Is to have our own sort of style that's a blend of the things that influence us. Obviously there's the guys who can just do everything and we all hate them. Not really. It's amazing to watch the guys who are like fantastic chicken pickers and, then they can shred. Like somebody like Andy Wood who is just stupidly, ridiculously good at everything. I love Andy Wood, by the way, so I'm sure he will never see this. But if you do, Andy, I love to watch you play and I love your channel. So anyways, so we're not necessarily going to talk about hybrid picking and just the fact that it's the country stuff. Because it's not just that, it's it can be, obviously, but it can just be a great way to play some different things that maybe you wouldn't normally play, or maybe you normally have to skip strings with your pick if you're flat picking, and hybrid picking can help us. And for example, like if I was going to play a little blues turnaround, and I dropped my pick. See, this wouldn't have happened if I was hybrid picking. So let's see if I can do it without dropping my pick. If I play this little blues turnaround, that's fine with your pick, and it's not too hard to skip from the G string to the high E. But if you hybrid pick, if you use a pick and your middle finger, for example, I just found that stuff like that was a lot smoother for me, hybrid picking. Even if I was going to play a rock tune, if I was going to play something like... That's way easier for me to hybrid pick than to actually try to pick out every note. Now, I can pick out every note. I don't ever practice it that way, but, skipping those strings can be tricky. You can do some of those things really smoothly hybrid picking. And if you do want to do chicken picking stuff, obviously, you need the hybrid picking skill. So I'm going to give you a couple, 3, maybe 4 licks, things that I think are great exercises that will just get you into moving your pick and a finger or two. And let's just kind of go from there. The first thing I'm going to talk about are these shapes. sixth. Maybe you don't know what a sixth is. Maybe you don't know what an interval is. Go Google it. It's just how far two notes are apart in the scale. I'm really just playing the G major scale, harmonizing it. And I think about sixths backwards, honestly, because like that note right there is a B, and that's a G. But I think about that as like the first half of a G chord, really almost like I'm playing thirds. Like if I was playing Brown Eyed Girl, or that's a great song, by the way. Anyways, I just think about those sixths rather as big upside down thirds. So I think about this, that shape right there, where I'm on the 4th fret on my G string, 3rd fret on my high E, as just part of a G chord. Let's give myself, the computer thinks it heard feedback, but it didn't. Well, it probably did, but nothing. That's a big deal. Anyways, like I was saying, I think of that as part of a G chord. Now here's that whole, basically the G major scale all the way down to sixth. Here's what it would be. Let's start on the even though the G is right there on 4 and 3, let's start it open and open, which I think about half of an E minor. 2 and 2, think about that as half of the F sharp, which would be a diminished chord in G, whatever. We don't have enough notes. We're only playing 2 notes. We need 3 to make it a diminished chord. But 4 and 3, 5 and 5. These are all on the G and high E string. 7 and 7, 9 and 8, 10 and 11, or 11 and 10 rather, 12 and 12, 14 and 14, 16 and 15. So again, that's open, open, 2, 2, 4, 3, 5, 5, 7, 7, 9, 8, 11, 10, 12, 12, 14, 14, 16, 15. And you can see as I'm going down, I'm not picking those shapes. I'm going pick on the G string, middle finger on the high E, and then just moving it around. If I didn't hyperpick that, my options would be to do it with my fingers. I could mute the B string and sort of strum it, or I could just pick it, both with my pick. And again, when you're skipping those strings, probably a higher probability you're going to miss something. But the hyperpicking stuff sounds different too, and I think it just makes some of those things simpler. It's just another tool to put in your belt. But if you just practice going up and down that pattern, and I would practice it pick, slide, and then middle finger. So what I mean is, like if I'm starting right here on the one that's 2 and 2, I would play that G string 2, slide to 4, then pick the 3 on the high E string with my middle finger. Then slide to 5, hold down the 5 on the high E, pick that, and I would just practice it that way. I'd also practice it plucking them. Now, the jam track at the beginning, I was trying to do all these things so you could hear them in sort of real life, how you use them. I use that all the time, man. It's a great way to travel up and down the neck. The sixths sound great. I love that interval. I think it's just such a cool sound. And if you think about, like what I'm doing, like taking, that's a G chord. So there's the little 6 that's part of a G chord. That's half of a G chord. It's a B and a G. A G chord is G, B, and D. So if I just skip sort of the next shape in the pattern, skip the 5 and 5 and then play 7 and 7, there's the other half of my G chord. It's the D and the B. So there's B and G. Here is my D and my B. So putting those together, that's a G chord, and I can walk in between it with that middle shape. That'll work awesomely over a G. So then, like if I find E minor, open and open, or 12 and 12, and then same thing, E minor chord. Find where the C would be, 9 and 8. That would sound amazing over a C chord. And then you back to your G. You can do it either way, so it's a great way to sort of accompany someone who's maybe strumming chords on an acoustic. or when you don't want to play big, full, hammer-fisted chords, but you still want to outline the chords you're playing. Very cool thing there. Sixth, just remember that pattern. That's a cool way to practice your hybrid picking and to get around the neck and to connect your pentatonic shapes. Another one that I really like is if you take this pentatonic shape we all know, you probably think of it as E minor pentatonic. That is the same as G major. If the whole relative major minor thing doesn't make sense to you, I've got a video about it. Go find it. There's tons of other stuff, obviously, too. Google it, search it on YouTube. But E minor, E natural minor rather, or E minor pentatonic, and then G major or G major pentatonic, same group of notes. So I was using the G right there, since the chord progression I was playing was G and E minor, C back to G. So using the G right there, and then just playing up the major scale. My pick every time was playing the G on the 3rd string. But my first finger started pinky on the 15, hybrid pick it. Leaving that G there, it's sort of my anchor. Picking that with the pick. And then ring fingers coming back to 14. Now still on the high E string, coming back to 12. So it was the G on the 3rd string, 15. G on the 3rd string, 14. G on the 3rd string, 12. Then I'm going up to my B string. G on the B string, or G on the 3rd string rather. Then 15 on the 2nd string. G, 13 on the 2nd string. G, 12 on the B string. Then I was playing the G again, and then with my pick, playing the A right there. You could repeat that. You could really do that with any scale. Just find like an anchor and then practice your hybrid picking. If you switch that note right there, the F sharp on the 14th fret to F, it would sound like Mixolydian. So a little more country, more bluesy. You can do it chromatically. End it with a bend. All sorts of ways right there to practice that hybrid picking. And it's really cool. It's really, really fun and sounds great. Here's a fun one that is definitely along the country lines. I made sure to do it at the backing track because I like it. If you hold down and bar those first 3 strings, and I'll do it in a G just to keep everything consistent. First 3 strings, so your G string, your B string, your high E, on the 3rd fret, and when I pick my G string with my pick, I'm going to hammer on from 3 to 4. Then I'm going to use my middle finger to play the B string, back to the hammer on with my pick, and then my ring finger play the high E string. This is actually a banjo roll. It's a little modified because I think it's easier going pick, finger, than just pick, finger, pick, finger in the beginning. Here's what it sounds like. If I wanted to move that up to like C, D, back to G. And then you could add your little country chicken picking things if you get them. So again, the G's on the 3rd fret, hammered on the 4. The C is on the 8th fret, hammered on the 9. The D's on the 10th fret, hammered on to 11. That's a fantastic banjo roll. One more little bonus thing. I do this in E major a lot. We'll do an E minor / G today to keep it all consistent. That's how I did it in the backing track, obviously. I'm going to start right here on... Actually, yeah, let's start on the G, on the B string. I'm going to play that with my pick. And then my middle finger is going to play the high E. And what I'm going to do is when I play the note with my pick, I'm going to pull off the open. And then pick. And so it's going to sound like this. I could do my finger first. It would sound like that. So then I just go up and down my scale. So for example, G, F sharp, D. I'm sorry. I said that all wrong. G, F sharp, E, D. So that's 8, 7, 5, 3. Then I can go back up. And I could go to wherever I want. I could just follow that scale. So if I'm going higher, I can go from 8 to 10 to 12, 13 to 15, maybe in on a bend. Or whatever. I could just go up and down that. However I want to do it. That's a great way to practice your hybrid picking as well. You're getting a cool pull off and then an open string. So none of these are hard. They're all just great ways to get yourself hybrid picking. I think half the battle is just getting yourself used to that motion. Pick finger, and then if you want to learn some trickier, hammer or hybrid picking things, some trickier chicken picking-y type things, it's so much easier. But to me, those are probably the ones that just became a part of my vocabulary, that I practiced, that just really made hybrid picking a part of my style. So let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know if you got any more questions. Hopefully that's cool and useful. So there you go. Thanks again for getting me to almost 1,500 subscribers. There was a time when I could not imagine having 1,000, and we sailed right past that. And like I said, we're almost to 1,500. Probably we'll have 1,500 by the time you see this. So thanks again. Thanks for all the folks that are coming over from Casino. Keep letting me know the kind of things that you want to hear about, or the kind of lessons you want in the comments. And if I am capable of doing them, I will. You guys have a great rest of the week. Have a happy Easter. Hit like and subscribe if you have not already. Click the bell so you don't miss these videos in the future. See you next time. Thanks again.